What you got in your hands there, Daniel, son?
Should have cleaned that, shouldn't I?
What have you got there?
So we've got the Cobra King F9, Callaway Epic Flash Subzero.
Good old-fashioned compare.
Yeah.
Let's see which one comes out, if there is an on top for him and an on top for me. Loft on both of the clubs to kick us off then, Danny boy.
Right, we've got 9-degree heads, and I've set them up in neutral.
Okay.
So standard for the King Cobra and neutral for the Callaway.
So hazardous smoke in both.
Yeah, both 6.0, both 60-gram shafts, so exactly the same.
Now we've got weight forward on this one to make it so it's got, is it a 14-gram weight?
14 gram in the front and 2 gram in the back.
Because this is already preloaded with a forward weight.
Yes.
But we have got a sliding bar, but we're keeping it neutral on this one. So both have the changeable necks on them.
Yeah. Cobra allowing you to sort of go from 7.5 up to 10.5, which is quite a large change, which is great. Callaway, you can go two degrees up, so you can get up to 11 degree, and then you can bring it down by a degree. So yeah, that's pretty good as well.
So let's have a compare, see what one gives lower spin or different spins, which one feels different or better or worse to us. Obviously they look quite different, both quite jazzy in the colours.
Yeah. And
then we'll have a look at some distance compares as well in relationship to launches and spins, those kind of things. This one also has the milled face, doesn't it? Very CNC similar milled to what Twist Face has tried to say, where they're playing with roll and bulge a little bit to try and maximise, which again, don't know for a few years, but I haven't really seen any difference in my performance when I've tested.
Well, they say by milling it the way they do, they're able to get as thin as possible in certain departments of that face, aren't they?
And change the shape.
Yeah.
Like Twist Face as well, they're putting different twists on it, ideas. Let's hit. What's going on here, Dan? It's already changing.
Yeah, well, I when I set it up, I noticed that then the shaft was looking, the label on the shaft, so the writing was looking up at me.
Oh, so what have you? So we weren't in a standard.
So we were actually in standard draw setting. So
you don't need any more out
I don't
of
need any more draw. So I'm just going to put that back to standard.
Yeah, lovely.
So now that looks lovely and clean down the front of that shaft for me.
What do you think of the looks of this one?
Yeah, I do like it. I do like it. I certainly like it more than the previous model, the F8. I didn't like all that grey. This is a lot more subtle in its looks from the top, so keeping that black effect all the way around the head. So I do prefer this model previous. However, there's still a lot going on top here.
Yeah, it's busier on top, isn't it?
It is. It is busier on top.
How's it feeling?
It's feeling good. I mean, it's a great sound. I love the sound of this head.
No, good shot. So why don't you hit the Callaway?
Yep.
And then I'll hit both and we'll compare.
Okay.
Epic Flash.
Yes.
Let's compare. Obviously this has got jailbreak as well. If you want full tech reviews of these, I've done them already on the channel. This is more just a nice little compare for people who are thinking of these two. Again, looks with this one, are you digging the look?
Yeah, I am. I really do like the look of these now. More so than the Cobra, purely because there's a lot, I would say there's a lot less going on. There's a lot less bumps in this one. It's very clean. I love this little bit of like lipstick around the back. That little white streak, can you see that on that head there?
Yeah, it's just pretty, isn't it?
Really helps to frame it all up really quite nicely when you get down to the ball.
Sits nice and square. I mean, it does look very good down by the ball, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, and again, Callaway not afraid to make some pretty decent looking clubs, and they seem to follow quite a pattern for quite a few years now, haven't they? There's a Callaway look, isn't there?
Definitely is. And again, this little trademark, what we call that little V
chevron,
line.
Is
chevron,
it?
Is it?
What they call it?
Is that what they call it? The chevron. Just again, it helps you line up, and what's great is that is pretty much lined up with the centre of the club face, which is always quite nice, isn't it?
Any difference instantly in sound and feel?
As soon as I hit it, it's I wouldn't say, I don't know about feel, but it's the sound. It's such a loud tinning sound compared to the Cobra that I hit before. The Cobra had more of a thud. This has got more tin to it.
Just have a look at your numbers quickly there, actually, Dan, before we do mine. Epic Flash 268 carry.
268 carry.
To 264 with the F9.
The F9.
F9 did get a 275, and then Callaway got a 279. So 2 bomb balls, but Callaway again just popping it.
Yeah.
Ball speed averaging 1 mile an hour faster, but your fastest was with F9.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So more ball speed with F9. On these last 2 shots are your 2 funny ones, actually. So you've got, so you're 14 mile an hour more, 14 yards more carry with the Epic with 1 mile an hour less ball speed than F9.
Yeah.
If you go to club, both 145 efficient.
Yeah.
So you're getting the, for what you put in, you're getting the speed out in effect.
Yeah.
But the biggest difference is the Cobra you hit 4mm toe and in the middle.
Yeah.
So centre, much closer to the centre.
Yeah.
And the Callaway you hit further away from the centre, 2mm toe, 9mm high. Test for missits.
Test for missits, but the difference there, and look at the difference in spin with those
spin
two.
Then obviously just severely dropped off to 1 to 3, 4.
Yeah.
With the more kind of centered strike.
Yeah.
The spin with both clubs is really within 100 revs of each other, 200 revs of each other. So very close. Definitely you got your lowest by a mile with that shot on the Epic, that last shot.
Yeah.
But then you did have some big lefts with the Epic where you were much straighter with the F9.
That F9 was just on the line really all the way through.
So would you buy a club on straightness of readings, or would you buy a club on how you feel you would hit it straight or not?
So no, I would go at this situation here now is I would be looking at the distance of what I can get out of that club.
Yeah.
And then I would figure out a way of hitting it.
Yeah, so if you felt like you could squeeze some more yards, but it was more offline, the next question you would ask yourself is, can you keep it straight?
So I would then try and focus, and you can see here that if you look at my actual swing, you know, what am I? I'm pretty much 0 with both clubs, aren't I?
Path-wise 0, but when you get the face at 0 with the path on the Epic and you toe it slightly, then you're gonna gear left.
Yeah.
Certainly with a low spin club. And any club really, but it's lower MOI in theory, where you actually learn to have the face more open with all the shots with F9, which gave you then a toey draw back to target.
Yeah, absolutely right. And to be honest with you, if you took out that one shot, which was my big bomb ball of 279 carry going nearly 300 yards, but it's 50 yards left, you just take that out, and now on an average I'm 3.9 right, and I suppose standard deviation is still a little bit more, but
only 9 yards, you know, and you're 264 to 265. So really what you're saying there is you can choose which one you want, can't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
You can take one out or add one in, subject to what you want to feel or do feel, which I always think is quite interesting with numbers as well, where people, I think, often misread them. Yeah, but that one's 2 yards further. Yeah, but that's not, can I repeat that? Do I want to see that shape of shot to get that 2 yards? Can I get that 2 yards back from the one I prefer the look of? It's all those questions as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if you preferred that, but that went further, it would have to be like 5 yards further, I think, for you to maybe push over to that, over that, or whichever way around. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's difficult, but I feel it then starts, for me, it then starts coming down to looks, feel, and those things, rather than just what the numbers produce,
because they're so close.
They're so close, aren't they? So then it's got to be down to acoustics.
Yeah.
You know, what am I seeing? What am I feeling?
And some clubs do make you feel like you're going to hit a certain shape.
Definitely, as soon as you're looking down at it, how does that?
I always feel a bit more fadey with Epic.
The Subzero version.
Sub.
Yeah.
So that, even though it might squeeze out more yards for me, which it often does, that plays on my,
for sure,
when I'm stood on fairway or on tees, I'm thinking out of bounds off the right, wind off the left. I wish I had the one I found easier to draw.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a compare as well. Let's have a look what I get out of these two. Looks wise, I definitely think the Callaway is more classic on top, isn't it?
It definitely is.
It's more of a kind of cleaner, more appealing look. Not that this is ugly, it's nice, but those two ridges aren't as, if you had to buy just on looks, I'm going to go that one. Which is interesting though. Sorry, if we went that way round, I would pick on that one.
Yeah.
But obviously it's the gaming position, I'd put it down and make my choice.
But if you look at the Callaway over the last, what's that, maybe 4 or 5 generations of Callaway drivers, well, certainly the Rogue, the original Epic, and this one, they've all kept a similar shape, haven't they, and look. Whereas if you look at Cobra, they've not been afraid to sort of dabble around with completely different kind of looks on top, haven't they?
If you think about Callaway over the last few years, and it doesn't matter which way companies spin this, Callaway sell more clubs, drivers than anybody else. So I feel a little bit at the moment, which I like with them, is that they're selling well. Yep. People obviously are liking them. They've got their business in a good place. Why change a winning formula that people
like?
Where maybe other companies are constantly searching for that in a little bit. Does that make sense? We need to change it. We need to make more. Callaway are just saying, you know, you're buying them. Our company's where we want it. Our product's where we want it. We're going to make it look the Callaway way.
Sounds like my golf game. Searching.
I quite like that though, don't you?
I do, yeah. I really do. Once you find something that works, stick with it.
Dial into people's feels. You just keep delivering it. So let's go with Callaway first. I do like the look of the Epic. Sits lovely. Subzero, I should say. I feel a little under pressure with how far you've been in some of these.
Yeah, I had my Weetabix this morning. It is funny though, isn't it? The amount of testing and bits that we do in here, and each day we come, we sort of there's like a little mile an hour here, or the way you're feeling that day.
Well, we've got a video coming on, if it's not already out, on why we don't test so much using amateurs for certain clubs which are aimed at them, which kind of nails that point so much. The test just goes on forever. You've always got to work the human element in, and that's where it scares me when people do say, oh, this driver goes 3 yards further than that driver. It might do on that individual test that day. Yeah. That should never take away from you testing it, and obviously can you repeat that? I always think is the bigger question.
I think your Mizuno review on the new driver just kind of summed that up, didn't it?
262 is a thing for a reason, even if lots want to ignore it. Like the sound, it is not the quietest of Callaway sounds, but I like it. It feels very solid. Yeah. Right, let's go to the Cobra, see what that's delivering. So let's go Cobra next. Definitely busier on top. It's a truer carbon sound, isn't it?
Definitely thuddier, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that thuddier carbon sound that you would expect from what you look at. You need to look at that last shot, because it's definitely an issue with this driver that I see that I don't think people are being truthful about, because we'll talk about it and we'll show it at the end. So here's another question for you with the face. A good player, and I see it on tour ranges, and I want to do a study on it actually when it comes to moving weights. They work out quite in like really to fine details where they want to hit it. Like I can show you a driver I had as a kid, and I'm wearing this bit of the face out.
Yeah.
And I used to look at it as a kid before launch monitors. We're talking like 13, 14, 15. And people would say, why are you in it up there, Mark? Because you could see it had like a wear mark. And I would think, I don't know, but I drive the ball well, so I'm not going to really do anything different. But I would go home and think, oh, would I be better if I hit it out in the middle? Because obviously people didn't know those days. I just found the best place as a kid to hit that driver. That's what better players tend to do. They can work, they find it. Yeah. You start mucking with the face, like companies seem to want to, like how much roll and bulge. Well, I've gamed roll and bulge all my life and worked out where I hit it. Why do I have to change it for your marketing ploys? Cobra as well. I don't want to change, which we'll show in a second on the monitor, which I think holds me back.
I do get that. I know what you're saying. Why do you have to change? Roll and bulge has
worked for years.
Yeah.
It's just worked. It works.
Yeah.
It could work more, but the RNA probably even they control everything. So I don't know if you could put more on it and less, how much before the RNA go, no, that's helping too much. Yeah. But it changes start direction, spins and speeds on the face. You're then making me have to try and work out where the best place on that face is again. And I find that annoying, because I don't see it helping anyone. Because I can go on ShopLink and show you it doesn't help anyone. and I can show you numbers of amateurs where it doesn't help them at all, like it's not measurable. But I see it on better players because I see them moving weights, and I just think, oh, are you just chasing that weight around, or is it making a difference? So I'm going to speak to some guy. I want to try and do a study on it with better players because it would be interesting. Does that make sense? You go and move the weight into the heel to me, it helps for a few shots, and then I just work out it's there, and I move my strike accordingly to where that weight is, so now it makes no difference.
Yeah.
And I see Rory's weight on McIlroy's driver, and I know he's struggling with accuracy with his driver, has done for years, he even publicly stated it, and I see his weight in the heel. Well, he's a high toe hitter. You know what happens with high toe hits on the TaylorMades, they're not the best place sometimes to hit it, as we've shown. And I think maybe he's back, they're putting it in the heel to try and bring it back more, where actually it's making his high toes probably even worse. How much does he track it back or not?
I was going to say, are they not doing it to try and track him back to centre?
Possibly, yeah. That's, again, I'd love to do a study on it to see if it's a paracetamol or is it a cure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've been on tour ranges like Bert did it. He tried his driver in every setting. He said on camera over the winter, I was trying it in every setting to find out, like it's not random, like there's reasons to have the setting. His understanding of the setting was obviously not that good.
Yeah.
You're not trying to find the right one.
So he's just experimenting.
He's just playing.
Yeah.
Trying to work out, like, and obviously not quite understanding what it does.
Yeah.
That felt slightly heely to me, but a decent flight. So Subzero flash for me 264, averaging 263. Interesting, my shortest is 260.
Yep.
When you get the spins down in the low 2000s, averaging 2.3 and 2.1s, I'm always going to get my slightly longer hits. SLDR proved that years ago.
Yep.
F9 for me, averaging 254, longest hit 262. So definitely the flash squeezing a bit more out for me. But the most disappointing one for me on F9, which I don't think is being reported enough about, is the 245.
Okay.
Let's just dig into that one. So if I look at my strike on this, if you look at, if we go, this is the 245. It's 1mm toe and 8mm high strike.
Yeah.
Which I would class as decent. If we compare it to this one, 5mm toe, 8mm high in the Epic Flash Sub, so only 4mm difference in tonus, and this is more away from affect the centre of the club, the Callaway.
Yep.
264 carry on the Callaway.
Yep.
Spinning at 2.4. The 3.1 spin on a high strike with the Cobra, only carrying 2.45. That has annoyed me with this club from the start, even to the fact that we had to retest the first one we had.
Okay. Has anything to do with, does any of that have to do with, like, what was the loft and things like that? Is anything changing there? Is everything...
So 19.4 delivered.
Yeah.
To 17 delivered.
Okay.
Okay, but if you look at the launch angles, 14 to 30.9 difference in the launch angles.
Yeah.
Why is the spin jumping up on a high face hit like that, where I would get my best numbers from lots of club, but on the F9 I often get my weakest. It doesn't like it at the top that much, and I'm finding that at the moment now, and I need to do more testing with lots of clubs. The companies that are manipulating the face, when I hit it in my high toe area, it seems like they've weakened it. And I don't know if that's true. Is anyone else finding that? I see a lot of people talking about this one as like an amazing club at the minute. I think it's as good as anything. I mean, for you, your numbers were very similar. You could argue you just pipped the post with Callaway, but it was so close.
Yeah.
For me, because I would say I'm definitely more of a high toe hitter than you.
Yeah.
You're getting that way though, because obviously you've changed your angle of attacks and what have you. I definitely find the Callaway feels more sustainable ball speeds across the face than Cobra has, for me, a repeatable weak spot at the moment. And the trouble is, it's a spot I'm trying to track a little bit.
Yeah.
Go and test yourself. Let me know which one would you go for and why. I would definitely go for Callaway over those two, even though I do like what the Cobra offers, and I think it's a great club. And you've got to remember, it's cheaper in price and all those kind of things, you know, if you're hitting it in a different place. Be careful if you go fitting with the Cobra as well. We noticed when we started with a high loft and lofted down, this club got very weak, didn't we?
Yeah, it did.
Which is, you're a fitter out there, if any fitters are watching this, just bear that in mind or do some testing on that as well. Which one would you pick and why? Post in the comments down below.
Ryan Little.